You don't just date anyone. Certain things about you will change, and then sometimes people around you may not even notice. Drop that talking stage like I am. I know this makes me seem really holy cool. Adulting, adulting can shake your faith. Adulting can shake your faith. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back. My name is Gifty, a YouTuber based in Ghana, and I make videos about my life here in Ghana, and then chit chat videos and everything in between. So if that's something you are interested in, then please subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss whenever I post a new video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about some things about adulthood that no one prepared me for. No, we've all been saying adulthood is a scam, adulthood is a scam. Yeah, I also think adulthood is a scam, and then this is my point of view, like my experience so far, things that I've noticed and why I think adulthood is a scam. Okay, so if that's something you're interested in, stay with me and let's get right into the video. First thing that no one prepared me for about adulthood is that life goes on whether you are okay or not okay. You know, we all have bad days that we don't feel like doing anything, days that we feel so unmotivated, days that we have such low energies, days that we are just not ourselves. But one thing about adulthood is that it doesn't care whether you are okay, whether you are not okay. You know, you still have to find a way to get yourself back up and continue with your life. You cannot say that just because I'm not in the mood, I'm not going to life. You basically have to get out there and then life, whether you feel like it or not. Guys, there's this picture that used to go around, and at that time I didn't really understand that picture. But now that I've seen small shaggy from adulthood, I feel like I can really relate to that picture. But it was basically a picture of someone who was just getting out of bed, and the person was seated like this, like the person was looking so drained and all, but then like the person had a life to live, so you just have to get up and go out there to live your life. Second thing is that no one is going to save you when you're going through a hard time. Yes, you have people that you will talk to, people will advise you, but you are the one in control of whether you are going to be okay or not okay. I'll use myself as an example. You know, sometimes during my hard times, like for me, when I'm going through a tough time, like I feel it, Ankasa. I feel it, and then during that time I tend to talk to people. Like even sometimes when you talk to people, like they don't really get you, like they don't really understand what you are going through, and then most of the time they will even feel like you are just exaggerating, and they just can't relate to what you are going through because they've probably not gone through that same situation before. So yeah, they will advise you and stuff like that, but then who your well-being depends on is really you. You can do all the talking to people, but then if you yourself, you don't psych up yourself to be okay, or you don't psych up yourself to go on with life, nothing is going to. Another thing I want to say about no one coming to save you is that, you know, sometimes you may be going through a hard time and then you may not feel like talking about it with anyone, or you're just not able to talk about it with anyone, but then you may be wishing for someone to at least notice that, you know, something is wrong with you, so that they will come to you and maybe have a conversation with you about it, or maybe help you find a solution. But then no one will actually notice that anything is wrong. Sometimes you may be going through a hard time and you may even go off social media, your lifestyle may change, like certain things about you will change, and then sometimes people around you may not even notice. Yeah, and that is not because they are bad people or anything, but it's just because they are also going through their own shaggy. Yeah, so they are also so involved in their own shaggy. Let me use the word shaggy. Yeah, they are so involved in their own shaggy that they cannot even notice that you are drowning, you know. So that is another thing that I've noticed about adults. So that's why I'm saying that one is going to come to save you. Yeah, it's another thing is that there tend to be a lot of waiting seasons, you know, like periods in your life where you just have to wait for something. For example, you've applied for a job and then you are waiting for the company to accept you you've written an exam and you are waiting for an exam result, or like you are just waiting for a particular phase of your life to pass before you move on to the next stage. And then sometimes this waiting period can be so draining, and that making you feel like you are useless. Somebody who, like, you are on track, you are living your life, but then you come to a standstill and all of a sudden you feel like you are useless, you feel like you don't have anything going on with yourself. One thing I've learned about waiting seasons is that you have to be really intentional, and then there's always purpose in waiting seasons. So I want to talk about a few things that can help you in your waiting period. During waiting season, we really have to cultivate the habit of praying. Praying, and this really makes me seem really holico, but honestly, that is what I have realized about waiting. During waiting, you have to really learn to pray and then seek God so that He will help you find a purpose in that season. Personally, I struggle with that, and then I've noticed that other friends of mine who in their waiting season, they tend to pray and then seek God in that season. I noticed that they wait better than me, because me, during that waiting season, I will just be complaining so much, crying, and sometimes I see that I miss certain things. I'm speaking from a recent season that I went through, and I feel like during that season, because I didn't do a lot of praying and waiting on God, I feel like I missed certain things. Although I learned something in the end, there are certain things that I feel like wouldn't have happened, or certain things that I would have learned if I had prayed, if I had prayed and waited on God. Because honestly, when we walk with God, He shows us the purpose for our life, and He shows us the purpose for every season that He puts us in. And then also for my age mates, some of us, we still live with our parents, and our parents have jobs and all that. So one thing that we can do in our waiting period is to help them in their jobs, like help them make their workload on them a bit easier. So that is one thing that we can do. And also in our waiting period, we can cultivate the habits of exercising, because exercising actually tends to relaxes you. So it's a good thing, it's a good habit to cultivate while you are waiting. You can also indulge in your hobbies. Like, sometimes these things that I'm saying, it seems like it's just for white people. Sorry. For example, if you decide to indulge in your hobbies in an African home, most of the times they will feel like you are not serious, because like, why is there life to live and you are just here learning about photography? Okay, well, I feel like that used to be back in the day, because now they can really see the benefits people are reaping from photography and baking and all those things. But before, if you were, for example, if you were out of school and then you were waiting for maybe a job appointment or anything like that, and then you were just at home cooking and baking, going out, buying a camera and then going out just to take pictures, people would just feel like you are just wasting your time. But now I feel like now we don't have, like, such a thing is not there anymore, because people have made a living for themselves out of things like photography, catering, and etc. So another thing that you can do in your waiting period is to nurture your friendship. In your waiting period, you tend to have a lot of time on your side, and really that is the time that you can get to check up on your friends, bond with your friends and all that, because a period will come in your life where you'll be so busy that you will not even have time to talk to your friends. And then read books. Guys, this is like a message to myself. I wrote these points down, but then it's like a message to myself as well, because like, oh my God, like being in a waiting season, you tend to have a lot of time on your hands, but nothing pushes you to go and pick that book that you bought some years ago that you were going to read. Nothing will push you to go and pick that book and read. But I feel like that is one thing that you can do to relieve pressure off yourself while you are waiting. The last point is to learn to shut down outside voices. Guys, in an African setting, like, people just don't know how to mind their own. I don't mean to say to sound rude or anything, but people just don't know how to mind their own business. And they will just be asking you questions. Honestly, sometimes people use the guise of, oh, I'm looking out for you, I want the best for you, to offend you. They use that as a disguise to offend you, because sometimes some people it worries them or it bothers them that they are just seeing you around, just at home running errands and all that. Maybe it bothers them, and then it makes them worry about you, and so they tend to ask you questions about your next move, your next step, what are you doing with your life, But I think that during our waiting season, we need to learn to shut some voices. I say some voices because sometimes there are voices that actually maybe God speaking through someone to you, but then there are some that they are just disturbances, So we need to learn to shut down some voices, else they will just drive us to depression. I feel like another thing that nobody prepared me for is friendships, navigating adult friendships. When I was younger, like as long as we were in the same classroom, I felt like we were friends. But then growing up, I've come to learn that actually we have friends and we have friends, I've come to learn about acquaintances. What else is there? Other types of friendships. Before I came to this realization, I feel like I had a lot of friendship heartbreak, because I ended up putting like a higher expectation on certain people whom I considered like were my very close friends, but maybe they didn't see me that way, So because I had high expectation of them, maybe they did something that tend to hurt me and all that. Yeah, adult friendship is just some way. Yeah, 1 minute you feel like you don't have any friends. I mean, there are seasons where you tend to feel like you don't have any friends, but I feel like it's really not true that you don't have any friends. It's just that maybe you've not spoken to your friends in a long time, and then you feel out of touch with your friends, and then it makes you feel like you are alone, or makes you feel like you don't have any friends. But I don't think it's really like that. I feel like it's just that kind of season where everybody is just so busy with their own life, with their own lifestyle, that you end up not talking so much, so it makes you feel like maybe your friends have left you and all that. But then the thing about putting your friendships in a compartment, like know what to expect from this person, know what to expect from this person, know what to expect from that person, not to end up putting somebody who wants to be an acquaintance into to a position of a best friend, so that you end up getting hurt by friendship, and you will end up wanting to cut somebody off at the end of the year. No, let's not do that. Another thing is about dating, So in my adult life, I realized that we don't just date anyone. You don't just date your crush, Just because you have a crush on a guy doesn't mean you should date him. There are things to consider before dating somebody. And you don't just date for fun, you date with the intention of maybe settling down. You don't just say that, oh, this guy is cute, so I'm going to date him. You have to check your settling status, if you are compatible, so that you don't go and give birth to SS kids and then, for them to go through all that kind of pain that comes with being a sickler. Yeah, so you don't just date anyone, because when we were younger or when we were in high school, you just like somebody. In fact, that one girl wasn't dating. You just like somebody, they'll like you back, and then all of a sudden you are in a relationship. But yeah, in adulthood, I've seen that we don't do that. So sometimes start talking to somebody, the vibes are there, and then you get to learn certain things about them that you feel like you wouldn't want to see in a long-term partner, and hence you have to drop that talking stage like a young. And then my last, but certainly not the least, is about faith. Adulting can shake your faith. Adulting can shake your faith. Because why is the Bible saying something and then I am seeing another thing in real life? Adulting can really question your faith, because it's like the reality. It's like reality just makes the word not make sense sometimes. Reality just makes the word not make sense sometimes. Yeah. But then I always use this Bible verse. I can't remember it correctly now, but I'll paraphrase and then find it and attach it in the video. But it says that with the kingdom of God, you have to take it like a child, something like that. It's like you just have to accept things as a child. You know, when it comes to faith, you have to believe as a child. You have to be like a child that your mom has promised to buy you something, and your mom fails you countless times. But whenever she tells you that she's going to buy you that thing, you end up believing that she's going to buy you that thing. And then when like sometimes like, you tell your father like, daddy please buy me a car tomorrow, like, you know, these things. So that is one thing I've learned. That is one thing that I've learned about faith, is that with faith you just have to take it, things about faith you just have to take it like a child, you know, else reality will really shake your faith. Adulthood can really shake your faith. Yeah, into a tough time and then trying to hold on to the promises of God, doing right and not seeing certain rewards, you know. Yeah, all those things, they can break your heart. Like adulthood scam. Being broke all the time, like why why is it that I'll budget and still be broke before the month ends? Why am I always being broke? Okay, another thing is also growing pains, guys. Growing pains, you know, heartbreaks, disappointments and all that. Like all these things, nobody told me about them. Like nobody told me about all these things. People will hurt you and all that, you know, but we learn from them, guys. So now I'm going to talk about some things that have helped me navigate my adulthood better, or things that have helped me navigate this period of my life, this period that I am learning and I'm growing. Yeah, things that have helped me. Okay, so guys, the first thing that I'm doing to make my 20s or to make my adulting a little less challenging is seeking counsel, and then seeking counsel from my parents. Because guys, you know, our parents are the only ones that I can confidently say that they really want the best for us, you know. Maybe our parents and our older siblings, they are the ones that really want the best for us. So I think they are the best people to seek counsel from, because they've experienced life, and then like they have more experiences to share. I know with our African parents, right, they always seem like they were so perfect when they were our age, and then when it comes to being vulnerable or talking to them about something, it turns out not to be so easy. But I've really realized that whenever I have an honest conversation with mine, I end up learning a lot, and then it ends up making the situation better, you know. Sometimes you'll be so ashamed, like you'll be so ashamed because of certain details that may be in what you want counsel from or what you need counsel from. But I feel like it's always the best, you know, it's always best to seek their counsel in situations. I learned this earlier this year about how, like, in the multitude of counsel there's freedom, something like that. Like when I heard that, it was like an awakening to me, yeah, because I agreed with it strongly. Sometimes we may be struggling so much, like with certain issues, relationship issues, friendship issues, career issues, you know, and we like to feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing, blah 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 blah. But sometimes it's really best to seek counsel from our parents, because they really want the best for us, and they've most likely been in the situations that we are finding ourselves in before. Be ready to, you know, hear what you don't want to hear, but at the end of the day, it's always the best. Trust me. Another thing is taking things one day at a time, you know, trying not to focus on the whole staircase, but then focusing on the step that I need to take today, you know, because honestly, when you tend to look at the whole situation, sometimes it may be discouraging, because you look at it and you are like, God, when am I going to get there? But then when you focus on the current step ahead of you, you will move one step closer, then you focus on the next one, another step closer, before you realize you're already at the top. So taking things one day at a time. Another thing is to stop comparing, stop comparing my situations with other people. And some people are even younger than me and they've moved out of their parents' houses, So if I decide to compare my life with such people, I'm really going to, worry myself. So one thing that I have stopped doing is to compare situations. I've really learned to accept my situation, love my journey and focus on my journey rather than comparing my chapter 1 to someone's chapter 15 or my chapter 15 to someone's chapter 1. Patience. The next thing is patience. Being patient with ourselves, being patient with our journey, because everything will certainly pass. Everything will certainly pass. Whatever season I may find myself in, it is definitely going to end one day. Whatever horrible feeling I'm feeling is going to end one day. I'm not going to feel that way forever. You realize that sometimes even when you're having a bad day, when you sleep and you wake up, you end up feeling better. That goes to tell us that everything is going to pass. Whatever that we are going through is going to pass. So we need to just learn to cultivate the habit of being patient. And then the last thing I'm going to say is speaking with friends, talking to your age mates, talking about your situations. Sometimes when you talk about these things, you realize that you are not alone on it. And then feeling that you are not alone on it, it tends to, honestly, there is something that they say that failure likes company. You know how when you fail an exam and then, an exam is too strong. For example, maybe you are late for a class and then you realize that other people were late too. Instantly you end up feeling better about the fact that you were late, So talking to friends, you tend to learn that you are not the only one going through what you are going through, and that maybe it's normal. And then you might even learn certain tips from them, certain tips about how they are handling their situations, and then it will help you handle your own better. So that will bring us to the end of this video, guys. The points are many and I couldn't even exhaust everything, but then if there's anything you've learned about adulthood, anything you've realized about adulthood, or anything that you feel like nobody prepared you for about adulthood, you can share it with me in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, kindly share this video with a friend. Okay, thank you so much for watching, guys. I know my voice has changed towards the end of the video. I really don't know why, but I'm really struggling to speak right now, so I'm just going to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching once again. Bye bye.